Morning guys, welcome back to NZ Mopar Outlaw Customs again. Another video, studebaker. So yeah, I'm just going to keep sanding on this crap. I left the end of the last video with this body filler on here. So yeah, I've got to sand, knock that off. Obviously touch up spots and whatever. I've got to do the other one as well, finish that one off. And just I'm trying to get these frickin' front guards dialed in, or feeders, and I'll have another quick wee look at the back ones and just double check any little funny spots in them and just get anything that I know that's going to be seen sorted. Just yeah, try and get all these last little splits with a little bit of glaze and putty and knock them off, whatever, and then hopefully what I'll plan to do is put 2 coats on, so we can get 2 good thick coats on, and then let them dry, and then I'll rub them back again, check for any last little marks, and then I'll put another 2 coats on, and then I'll let them sit until ready to paint them black, hopefully. As long as I don't find anything else that it's annoying me. Yeah. Because these pieces here, like I tried to sand them in and get them to look right, but it just wasn't happening. Like they had the lines pretty straight around there, reasonable and whatever, but I just knew that those rear fenders had that little like they come along and then jump up, and then it's got like another, and then it goes over the middle. It's got that little, just that little fine step in it, and it's on a slight angle. And I knew on these, apart from probably this edge wasn't too bad, but I've had to make this edge sort of match that edge. I will chamfer them back once I sort of happy with everything. I will sort of put the paper in there on a little bit of angle and just rub it off so it chamfers back, and then hopefully by the time I put a couple of coats on there, it'll smooth the transitions out a little bit, and then we'll just rub it back lightly. And then hopefully the last 2 coats and then rub it back lightly, and everything should be all nicely blended in. Because I've had a guts for these front fenders. But they have been probably the worst thing I've ever sanded or worked on. I think it's just because they're so curved that way, and obviously they curved that way, and then they get the line in them, and then they curved again. This piece here doesn't really worry me too much. That's pretty easy to work on because it's sort of a biggish sort of area. Even though it's curvy, it's a fairly, like it's an easy thing to sand, whereas this little strip edge and trying to keep that line nice and trying to get the definition back in that line after it's been beaten to a pulp and then it's been straightened out and it's been probably over beaten in places because as you've seen, I had to shrink parts on the back fenders, and I've had to try and beat these into submission. And a lot of it's in places that little double edge is there, but in places it's just completely gone. They've beaten it out and they try to straighten, over the years and whatever, and yeah, and me trying to get it back in, it's just been a nightmare. I probably should have done this from the start, but these are the things you learn. So next time when you come to do it, if I ever have to do something with things like this again that I've got to go into this much work into, it would be different if they're in really good shape and you just had a couple of little imperfections out. Basically, you just prime them, maybe a little bit of skim of filler or putty or something in that damaged area, and all you had to do was prime them and block them back, and prime them and block them back until you got any little imperfections out. That's easy. It's when you've been dealing with something that's been beaten to snot. You've got it into pretty close shape with that metal finishing, and then you've tried to try and get the rest of it in, if you know what I mean. And it's just been a pig of a job. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to try and get this shit sorted out, and I'll come back to you in another couple of hours or whatever. Right, I just thought I'd quickly show you, because I've just knocked a lot of the top off this with the 80 grit. It's kind of a pain in the butt having to go back to that, but it's obviously the fastest way to get it down. And then I'll come back along now that I'm almost sort of got it cleaned up with 240, but I'm just going around this edge, see how this edge is rough. Hopefully you can see that. I'll try and get you a little bit closer. Might be able to see it on the camera or not, I'm not sure. Actually, hold on. Now you can see it, I've zoomed in a bit. So that's obviously where, after we put the filler on, lifted the tape off the fender, or the mud guard, whatever you want to call it. So now what I want to do is I'm going to run this block round with the 80 grit on it, and just rub the edge off, and I'm actually holding it. I don't know if you can see that or not. No, you can't. I'm holding it sort of like on an angle like that. Move you up a little bit. Move you back a little bit, and up a little bit. So you can kind of catch what I'm doing. So to try and get this sort of a nice edge, because I don't want it square, I want it to sort of tape it over a little bit. So I'm just rubbing this block around here like that. I'm just trying to get myself a nice clean edge. I'm obviously blowing it off. Have a look, see what it looks like. Now I've obviously got a few pieces where I've got to get it cleaned up a bit more. I don't want to be gentle because I don't want to dig in and create curves and all that sort of stuff. But I want a nice edge on it. So you're going around there gently. And I'll do the same around the front too. Try and get it all even. Gently go around here. So it's all blended in. I actually haven't quite got enough of a look there. Keep running away from it. But I can fix that. And same around here. And try and clean the edge up so that looks nice. Just going slow. Trying to get those edges all nice and cleaned up. So hopefully we get primer on this bloody thing. It looks decent. We can get in it with a result that I'm happy with. Like if I was building a rat rod or something like that, you wouldn't care, you just put it on there the way it was. You just make it look reasonable, but when somebody's paying me good money to rebuild this car, you've got to have it right. Or as close to as right you can get it, Anyway, I'll keep sanding and I'll bring you back later on. I'll just sort of show you what I was doing there. So, we'll keep going. Righty guys, so one of my big spreaders broke the other day, I don't know why, when I was trying to just clean the putty off. Same size as, wherever the other one is. That one. Not the, I got some smaller ones and bigger ones. So I just cut it into small strips. I actually cut the broken piece off. I'm going to see if I can re-profile that, make it flatter. Maybe make it curved or something like that for doing curves or something, I don't know. But I just want a small one so I can get into some of these spots with not so much, putty on there. I'm actually going to sand this edge up a little bit just so I can get a little bit of putty in there without, having heap on the spreader or trying to use a corner, if you know what I mean. So I've just got something small to scrape it in there with. Because I've just sanded the crap out of this thing, and I've got almost every mark out of it that I can possibly get out of it within reason. Well, basically everything's gone off here, but there's still little marks, and I need to probably clean some of this up down here and until a bit further. Obviously this probably sits about here, I'm guessing. So I really need to probably fill this shit down here. I need to put something in here because I didn't realise this was quite so bent. So I need to make that nicer. Fill, I'm going to fill anything that's above sort of here. And just fill it up and scrape it out, whatever marks. Same here, anything that's above this line here. So I think, you don't see a lot of this, but obviously from probably here down is seen. So I'll get a bit more on that, just make that a little bit nicer. And just fill in the other little marks I see. I think I've got rid of just about everything that's in it that I can get out, if you know what I mean. So I need to put a little bit more just in some of the little spots where I haven't quite enough in. Most of it's pretty good, but there's the odd spot that just needs a little bit more. That's why I've come along, so I can just put a little bit in without trying to use a big spreader or a biggish spreader, if you know what I mean. Those little pinholes, whatever, just to try and get this stuff really cleaned up. I want to put a little bit in here because there's some deeper marks in that, around that there. There's a few little, just some of these deeper marks here. There's a funny spot there that I've obviously missed getting filler into, and then obviously a little bit on that edge. And there's the odd little mark on here that I possibly could sand out. One in there, so it's a little bit deeper. So there's a few little bits, a few blemishes like that. I just want to get them all done, and then I'll knock them all back again. And then, like I said, I'll hit it with 2 thick coats if I can get it on there, 2 or 3 thick coats, block it out again, and then hopefully at that point we're good. And then I'll put another 2 coats on, and then it'll be the last, rub back for paint. That's how I've always done it anyway. Like I could put a sealer coat or whatever, but basically a sealer coat is just a thin layer of primer or whatever, or like maybe a colour that's similar to what you're putting on, just seal it. But I've always just painted straight over top of primer, as long as you get it right, and just rub it back with 500 or 600 or whatever, and blow your paint on. You're normally pretty good. Like I don't think there's going to be any clear coat this, so this is just going to be just straight 2-pack, just single stage, if you know what I mean. It'll just be solid colour, I would imagine. There wouldn't have been any metallics back then or anything like that. Well, not that I would know of. Most of it would have been just straight out solid colours and 25. I'm not sure when they brought in metallics. Maybe a little bit later on than that, 30s or 40s or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe even 50s. I don't know. Somebody will tell me when they first made metallic paint. But yeah, so I get all these marks filled up, and go down here a little bit deeper, because I'm pretty sure that anything. Actually, what I should do is measure the top of the chassis rail to these holes, and what I'll do is I'll just run the tape along here, put a line of tape down there, and then just anything that's above that gets fuller. That's what I should have done for a start off, but sometimes you're trying to freaking get the rest of it all sorted, and then you think about all these last pieces and think, I don't see that, but yeah, I probably do. I'm not quite down deep enough, if you know what I mean. But that's alright, we'll get it with this stuff. I haven't mixed this yet, fortunately. I haven't put the hardener in it, so I'll have a quick measure and then work out. Actually, you can probably see that might be where it comes to there. So yeah, I need to get all that sorted anyway. So we'll get to it. Right, so I've spared that all on. I reckon I'm going to have to hit this area again because it's just not, I haven't got enough in there, but I'll let it go off. We'll knock it off, what we've got to knock off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually unbolt this off here, set it over in the sun, let that bake in the sun with some, some sun temperature in the panel. Hopefully get this stuff to go off so it doesn't form a paper up all the frickin' time. That's the worst thing, is knocking that top skin off the stuff. I don't know whether it's, because this is about a year old now too. I just don't know whether it's because it's got a little bit of age in it. It stays gummy on top, or what it is. It says 2% hardness, so like I'm putting more than 2% in it. Probably 5. Like not heaps, but you know what I mean. A decent little dollop. I still seem to get that queer. It just fills frickin' paper up on top. Here's this effect. That's not a very good example. Oh, this shit, and then you can't get it out. It just glues up in there. When you're first trying to knock that crap off the top. But that's all good. So I'll let that go cure. We'll knock that off. I'll attack that other one back to this level and fill any marks, and then I'll tack this one again, you know, without putting any primer on it. I'll knock it all off, just get it smooth through here, yeah, and then see if I need to put any more in there after I block that corner out. So I'll knock the rest off with 80, and then I'll come back with 240, and just, yeah, I'll try to scrape a bit in there to try and smooth that out. Now I might have to hit that one piece again too. And it's just filled any other little marks, because I did it with that little thing. I've tried to put, hopefully not too much in there that I, you know, end up digging holes or whatever. So a little bit in around here, and try to get all these last little marks. Probably could have put a little bit in here too, but you know, I'll have to hit it again anyway there, so I can catch these ones that I've missed. But that's typical, you know. You can go around the freaking thing 10 times and you think you still find another hole, and you still find another hole. So yeah, that's all good. I'll get it off here. I'll bring the other one over and I'll attack that, and I'll bring you back when I've done some work on that. Righty, just to remind you guys, just in case some of you are wondering, you know, what the heck's he doing? I'll give you a reminder how bad these things are on the insides and what I've been dealing with, you know. So, I don't know if you can see or not, but look how freaking beaten these things are up, you know. And that was just trying to get them straightened back out. You know, you can see where that was bent and broken off and wouted up, and this has been replaced. It's been all butchered in here, you know. And that was, you know, I came along and made it way straighter than they were when whether the other guys did. You know, they come in here and repaired all this, you know. And I've had to obviously knock them back into shape the best I can. You know, this would have just taken me friggin' like literally hours to do it, and you know, like it was 1.5 dozen the other. Like, you're either going to spend an absolute, you know, just horrendous hours trying to metal finish and bring these back, or you get them as close as you possibly can. You think the shapes are really close, you know, it's within a reasonable range of not putting a massive amount of filler in, and you just spend a lot of time trying to shape the body filler, you know, to where it looks really, really good without being stupid thick or anything stupid, you know. I guarantee, like, the filler's not on here's not thick, but I've applied a lot of thin layers and bits and pieces just to try and bring these things right. You know, you can see how, like, there's none of those little double edges left. Like, you can see a little bit there, you know, but the rest of it's all gone. You know, you get a little bit back here again, but it's all just been beaten to hell. So there's a little bit here left. So that's what I've been dealing with. You can see how beaten up and shit it was, you know. So I got it roughed in as good as I can, and then we just had to mud it, you know. It's either that or spend a freaking 1,000 hours on 2 fenders, you know, to try and bring this back. You would. Like, if it had only been like a you know, a bit of a dent in here or something like that, you know, without all this other mess, you know, you would have brought it all back. Like, you know, it's been all beaten around here and everywhere. Like, it's probably the only section that hasn't really had a hard time. It's possibly a piece through here, you know. But even then, it's still not perfect. Like, I can rub my hand over it and just feel it with my fingertips, let alone anything else. You know, so that's what I've been dealing with. Right, before I go for lunch, so I sort of sanded this down the same as what I did the other one. I've come back through, filled stuff that I think I've actually put a bit more, like another strip around there, just to try and build it up a little bit. It was a little bit low around there, so I try to get a little bit more height. You know, we'll block that back, whatever, and see what it looks like. And I've been sanding, so I started sanding back the front door while I've been waiting on that filler. So I've been blocking this bit out. Like, I haven't got down very far yet, but I've started blocking that out. So I'm about to go for lunch. So you'll come back and attack those front fenders again, and then I'll come back to this, because I want to try and get these finished. Like, as much as I want to get this block back to paint it, I want to get these down so I can, so at least when I'm putting high build probably on this next to, you know, do another block back, I can do another couple of coats on this stuff, and like in the rear fenders and all those sorts of things. I'm going to check over the rear fenders too before I obviously high build everything, and yeah, try and get all this stuff knocked back. I'll probably do, I'll try and probably get everything I can, to be honest, and see how we get on. But I think the body's going to come up pretty good. You know, hopefully, you know, maybe one more prime through here and then touch up after that, and hopefully I can get the back part of the body. I stuck a wee bit of glazing putty in the back here while I was mixing, did that stuff, but it was almost going off when I was coming around to put it in there. So it was starting to go off here, and it wouldn't spread out very nice, but just trying to fill some extra marks. But oh yeah, I need to fill these too. I've circled a lot of the pinholes. I need to keep checking. I don't think I've done all of them, but yeah, we'll keep checking. So yeah, I filled a couple of marks up here too, or tried to, what I could, before the putty went off. Righty, so yeah, I'll go have lunch and we'll come back after and hit all the stuff again. Right, how you going, guys? So I just knocked all the filler and everything back off, all the glazing putty that I just put on here. Again, like around the edges and stuff, that I'm trying to get these really dialed in. Now, I was just talking to Arco from Outlaw Edge there before, Minnesota Outlaw Kustoms, which is obviously part of, you know, I'm part of their channel, they're part of my channel, and if maybe the opportunity to arise, we'll get over there at some point and do some work together. Now, that was the plan in 2019 to build Rogue and whatever, and me to be part of them, but it hasn't quite happened at this stage. Just because of, as you know, COVID and all the rest of it, and it's just turned into a major hassle with everything else. But he was just talking to me, and he made quite a good suggestion. I'll just move the camera up a bit. Hold on. Yeah, he made quite a good suggestion. I'll stop looking at the camera. He said, now, once you know that you're really happy with it, because primer can be, it's very easy to oversand one spot and then you like start digging into where you don't want to be. So he said, now that you're getting really close to being happy with these things, you know, because I was really fighting these edges, and that was what, so I had to change the tact of the way I was approaching them, and it's worked. I was putting the tape down here, putting the glazing putty on, then peeling it off, and I've had to do that 2 or 3 times to get where I'm fairly happy with everything. But he said, prime it another couple of times, give it a light rub back, and then what I'm going to do is the paint that I used to paint the chassis and the diff and all that sort of stuff, I'm going to give these a couple of coats with that, just quick ones, enough to obviously cover and make it look good. Leave it for a couple of days, and then I'm going to come back and wet sand them and just see if I can really dial them in, and hopefully just see what's going on, because the black paint is obviously a lot harder, and when you're obviously blocking off, it will take the top stuff off first because it's a bit more resilient, and it should better get these really dialed in, and then maybe prime them once more, and then painting it black with the proper paint, because that other stuff's just it's still 2-pack, but it's only like 10% or 15% gloss in it, like it's a satin finish, so it's no good on these, but it might be just enough to see exactly what I've got, and they'll be black, and if I paint it right, I should better get them shiny-ish, so when that goes off, it still will look half shiny, if you know what I mean, and then when I pour some water over, I'll better see if I am close enough and happy enough, because these have been a bitch, and as you hopefully you can see when I had that one upside down, how beaten up these things were. Like, to be honest, these 2 vehicles here come from the same place, that one and that one, and they are both farm vehicles. I don't know if they're farm vehicles on the same place, but they have both been turned into farm vehicles at some point, so I would imagine that these fenders here didn't look far off what they look like now. if you know what I mean, when they first got, you know, worked on, you know, before I touched them. So I know because there's a lot of welds, a lot of bends, a lot of cracks and stuff underneath them that's been repaired and fixed. And then I dialed them in even more till I got them to close to where I thought that they were good enough to put some body filler on without making it horrendously thick or anything stupid. So if you can imagine these here, these here used to look something like that probably 10, 15 years ago when they first started working on them. And it wouldn't surprise me because the amount of damage that's in them, they wouldn't have been far off. I wish he had photos of when he first got them or before they started working on this car. I really do, but unfortunately I don't think he does. I don't think they took any photos of it before they started, you know, putting the new, well, the other part of the body on the back and fixing all the doors. I wish I could see what it looked like so I could show you guys what it looked like. But the amount of damage that's underneath them, you know, you can see the evidence of the damage, but I wouldn't be surprised if they look like those ones upstairs beforehand, you know. They might have been slightly better, but not a lot. Because I know this was punched in that left front corner, and you can see where it's been creased and bent, and so they were all collapsed up. So they've come a long way from that to try and get to here, and try and beat them and get all of these shapes fairly close, if you know what I mean, before I put body filler on them. It's a big job. Like I beat the shit out of them to get into this point before I put the filler on. And yeah, I would love to see what they would look like beforehand, because I can see all the evidence of where they were bent and manipulated and welded together and patches welded in. Like these pieces here are all new. And you can see where there's been big weld marks and joint marks and crease marks, and it's just been hammered, and hammered. Anyway, I'll carry on. This is what I want to see. I'm going to put another couple of coats on. I'm just going to let this flash off a bit. I poured it on pretty quick, pretty thick, pretty heavy. But this is the line that I wanted. That looks shit hot now. I'm going to put another couple of coats on just so I get a little bit more to sand out, because you can see a few scratches where it's starting to dry, but I can sand it out 320 or something before I do the test paint with the black, but they look freaking shit hot. Righty guys, so I'm around this side blocking back. I've just started on the door, and I've knocked a lot of the bits and pieces that I put in the back of the body the other day. You can still see where obviously the pen marks where I'm going around, and anytime I see something before I block back or whatever, or not so much before I block back, but after I block back, you know, and I'm getting through stuff and I can see marks that I just know that aren't going to come out with body filler, you know, pinholes, whatever. I mark them. So, you know, I still got one up here that I've got to fill yet. There's another one there. So yeah, I've been going doing that. I've, you know, cleaned up some of the stuff. I've still got some more to do. I got another one to do down here, which I'll probably need to remark, but because I sanded a bit of down in here by hand, because I can't get in there with a block. I just do it with the palm of my hand. And I've been through all these bits and mark what I can see at the moment. I'll have another look later on and just see if there's anything else I can pick up. But you know, this is all the little marks and bits and pieces I know where I've just put another little scrape of glazing putty or something, you know. That I'm pretty sure that some of these might come out with sanding. I could probably get a little bit more out of that door up the top, but down the bottom I'm touching steel here, so I've got to be careful that I don't expose a big, you know, like a big circle steel, trying to get these. Down the bottom bits aren't too bad. I'll have to have another look at these pieces Just make sure there's nothing there. I actually need to put a little, maybe a scrape of filler in. You know, there's the odd low spot that I need to really probably scrape something in, but they're not bad. There's one on the other side's a bit rough. But yeah, this is what I've sort of got so far. I haven't done anything more with them. I've just been concentrating on this body, getting it knocked back. I've sort of done over the top half, sort of part way. I haven't sort of really gotten too hard, sort of much past here. I've sort of rubbed into there. Done a little bit over here, which I still need to rub back more, but this is going to come up pretty nice. Across the top, it's pretty good. I don't see anything sort of sticking out at me, if you know what I mean. Well, really from probably here up, it's pretty good. Little wee mark there, but I think that'll come with just the high build. Pretty sure of it. It's like just a little bit of, you know, like the paint mark's still there, but it's almost sanded out, if you know what I mean. But I'm at steel here, so it's not much point going for much further. I could probably rub it a little bit, but so that's where I'm at with these ones. So yeah, I've just been working around the body, and as I said, I've got all this stuff knocked down through to here, and I'll just keep going through this, and then I'll mark any spots that I see that need more. You know, I probably might have to do, you know, some stuff up here yet and all that sort of stuff, but we're getting there. I think, yeah, hopefully by the, you know, part way through next week, I should have this ready for, well, hopefully, what's today? Thursday. Maybe at the weekend, maybe. We'll see how we get on, because I do have to do some other maintenance on that Mondeo. I've got to put the steering rack in it now, so I need to get it again. I need, like the other one I got safetied the other day, it needs to be done too, so I don't think it'll pass with that rack that's in it. It's notchy when you turn for a start off. It's weird. I don't know. It's something to do with something to do with the valves in the rack, and it's like for $180 for another good second-hand rack with low Ks in it. It was just as easy to do that than trying to get a freaking kit from somewhere to rebuild it. So I've got another rack there, and it's got all the ends on it and everything like that. So Dad's actually, well, I presume Dad's looking at it now, starting to pull it apart, which is handy because it keeps me working, but it gives him something to do. So he'll be underneath it, pulling the bloody thing apart. So yeah, I'll hope, you know, hopefully by the end of the day, I'll be down here and get all this sanded back, and then, you know, I'll start spotting all those other places. And then I'll probably sand this stuff again and get these ready to put like that. And then at some point I'll sand these back, and probably tomorrow sand these back and putty them, put the little bits of putty, you know, to fill all these little marks in. And yeah, and then hopefully maybe Monday or something like that, or if I get a chance the weekend, I'll blow the black on them and see where we go from there. But that's where we're at the moment. Righty, so I'm about to bugger off for lunch. So I just changed this like 10 minutes ago, if that. And I don't know if you can see there's little specks starting to build up in it already. And all I've done, because that piece of 3M, I've done most of the back of this body, like from the cowl all the way back through these doors, around the back of the body again. This door, and I thought, I'll put another clean sheet on this. I've done that door for probably a couple of minutes, and I've just started on this one, and it's, you know, it's starting to fill up. I've blown it off, and it's starting to fill up with crap again. You can see the white specks in it, and it's like it's been on there what, 10 minutes, and it's like it is still sharp, but it, you know, like it's really lost that edge quick. Whereas, you know, like that piece of 3M would be just as sharp as what this is, you know. Let's see if I can show you. I'm disappointed with this stuff, you know what I mean? What you pay for a roll, you know, especially when you're using it all the time, doing this sort of work, you want to have good quality stuff so it lasts, you know. You might be better off to pay an extra, because I think these rolls were about $30 odd, you know, 30 or 40 bucks for a roll of 25 metres, whatever that is in feet. Yeah, 25 metres. I'm not sure what that is in feet. 30 metres is 100 feet. So, you know, it's not quite 100 feet sort of type thing. Just flick the camera around, hold on. Yeah, so, like, this has been, you know, done half that freaking car. You can hear that. It doesn't sound much different, does it? Yeah, obviously apart from the block, but you can hear how much grittier that is than that. Like, that's lost. It's lost its grit, its sharpness within, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, compared with that. You know, that there doesn't. You know, that's a little bit sharper than what this is, but you know, it's done half a fucking car, and this is, you know, losing its fucking edge already. It's just, I don't know, it's just annoying, because where's a, that's a bit of 80, hold on. I'll grab a clean piece of 220, she's this piece there, I haven't ripped up yet. It's hard to tell, but that's a little bit sharper than that, but you know, it's like it's not a, that would be similar, but like that's hardly lost it, you know, it's lost its edge, but as I said, it's done half the car, whereas that there is, you know, no better than that, or worse, you know, in 5 minutes. So, yeah, I would, if you're in New Zealand, I wouldn't recommend getting this. I'm going to try and see if I can get some sticky back 3M roll stuff. It's obviously a bit of a no-name sort of brand. These guys possibly bought it in, you know, and labelled it up as their own brand. They've probably got a, you know, pretty good deal on it. So that's the 400. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to find out what the rolls of 3M here are, or something that's a good quality brand. I don't care if I have to pay $20 more a roll. You know, that's a pain in the ass. Like, I don't want to be constantly changing my paper to, you know, you sort of get a panel done, you know, you can get it through and you think, like, it's completely lost its edge and it's starting to get full of crack, you know, like this. It doesn't clear out very easy. You know, and then you're changing your piece of paper again. You don't want to be able to do, like, that block there, half the fucking car. Because I did that, the door, partly that, because I had to go to a smaller block, partly that one again, and I went right around the back of the car on that other door. You know, all on that one piece of paper, and it's still, you know, I could still go back around it again probably. So it's annoying when you get a product that works really well, you know, and then you get one you think for a sticky back, because that's what I could get, and it just doesn't perform. You know, it's okay, you know, but, you know, you want to be changing it all the time and throwing, you know, you probably spend 3 times as much because it's, you know, freaking a quarter of the quality, if you know what I mean, if that. So anyway, hopefully I sent these guys a message, and hopefully they might have something better and pay a few more dollars for it. I'd rather pay a few more dollars for it and send that strip back. But anyway, we'll see you after lunch. Righty guys, so I've pretty much got it all blocked back. I've still got to do that centre section. I pulled this door off because I wanted to file this front edge with the panel file, just to even it up, because I'd taken a little bit off it at one point. So I just run the file down there a couple of times just to try and even that all up. Been sanding over the top of the cowl. It's pretty good. There's one little spot down here that needs probably something. Obviously I'm down through the steel here. There's a couple other little marks in it, and I've got to do a wee bit more down that edge. A couple little pieces down the bottom. One wee piece up here. This here, I might put a little bit of something in there, but the posts up, you know, the windscreen post there, so you're not really going to see that, but I might just put a little piece in there just in case you do see that back edge, and maybe in there. I'm not too panicked. What I might do is actually sit the post back on there and have a wee look, and obviously got to put a bit more in there just to fix that. But that's about that there. I've actually made 2 shims for the front of this door so I can move it back. I've got them sitting there ready to test fit. You know, they're going behind here. See if we can get this to sneak back a little bit. So yeah, I've got to block back that centre, and I've got to finish blocking these pieces. But apart from that, I'm just about done on the side. Still using that same piece of 3M. Still using that. I did put another piece, as you know, on that other, on the Dura block. And yeah, I don't know. It's funny, funny shit, that stuff. Like, I used it for a wee while, but it still does cut, but I don't know, it just fills up with crap. Like, as you can see, like, you can still see the bits in there, you know, it's gummed up in that corner. I don't know, it's fucking not as good as, 3M's freaking hard to beat. I'll tell you what it is, like, no, I only really used it on sort of one and a bit doors, you know, a little piece on there and a little bit on that, and then I went back to that because that just worked better, and I've still done all over the top of that, apart from using that small block, you know, in the small gaps, obviously. But yeah, frick, it's hard to beat 3M when it comes to sandpaper. It really is, or abrasives. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. So before I leave, I'm going to throw those shims in there just to see how that works, or how that looks, and then I might mix up a little bit of, I might circle those spots so I don't forget them, and mix up a little bit of putty and just see what I need to, obviously, just have a quick look and just get it in my head to how much I need to put in. You know, I don't really need a lot in anywhere, you know, it's just little pieces. I might block back across the top there just to make sure I don't need much in there or anything up there. Like, it needs a little bit in that bit too. But, you know, just to get it in my head what I actually need. Even this door just about doesn't need anything. A couple of little marks down there. Want that little piece just on the edge there. A little mark in there. But the rest of it's pretty freaking good. Well, it needs a little bit across the top. You know, a couple of little, I don't know if you can see that. And a couple of little marks just right in the top edge. There's a little bit there too. You know, it's just real minor stuff. And for the first block, that's pretty good. No, it needs that. There's a little piece there. But it's pretty freaking good at this point. The main body's freaking been so much easier than those freaking fenders, anyway, or mud guards, whatever you want to call them. So that's where I'm at. So I'll carry on, and I'll come back just before I go home. Righty, so I haven't sort of got much further. I haven't put any glazing putty in. I was going to, but then I decided to screw around with this door a little bit. So I pulled it off, made a couple of shims up. Well, yeah, I think I showed you, well, I'm not sure if I showed you the shims or not before. I'll better see when I look for the footage. So I've shimmed it back a little bit. I might just do another one on the bottom, just to see if I can get this gap, and just kick it up a little at the back, just see if it'll just a little bit. Yeah, just see if we can even out that bit, if you know what I mean, and that'll just kick that up a little bit at the back. It needs to come up a wee, you know, I think one more shim on the bottom. We'll just even that up. I've still got to do the other side. But yeah, it's been obviously just when I had the doors off, I cleaned up them a bit more on the panel stand, just gave them another rub out and just got around the edges a little bit better and all those sorts of things when it's a wee bit easier, you know, especially this edge, you know, I can come in and clean it up a little bit, you know, stuff like that, and just sand it into the corners a little bit easier. You haven't got to worry about other body work in the road. So that's cool. Just, yeah, unfortunately it's catching on that freaking hinge. I don't know, I'm not sure which hinge and where it's catching, but you can hear it. I assume it's not the bottom of the door. I don't think it is. So the bottom of the door's missing completely. It's something to do with the hinge. One of these hinges is just dragging across one of these surfaces. It's either up here or down the bottom, because, well, it could be in here too, but I don't know. But it just... it's just a little annoying. Just tight when you go to close it, that last piece, but I'll work on that. Maybe just kicking that out a little bit might fix that. I don't know. Biggest problem is when you put more tension on pushing that out, and it's going to tweak stuff a little bit more. I'll have to play with it so we can get it right. But at least the gap's reasonable now. It's not quite so close. I think I moved it. I think it's in theory it should have, because I put a pack in behind here, so it's pushing this out a little bit. Only by the thickness of the panel steel, if you know what I mean. But I might just have to make one more. Just see if that does improve it a little bit more and just gives that gap there a wee bit more even. So yeah, my thought was, since I didn't get a chance to put any more glazing putty in anywhere else, I haven't marked any more spots around here, but what I'll do is once I knock these little pieces round back on this, to put a little bit of glazing putty in them in the morning before I block them back. Well, when I knock these back and then put the glazing putty before I block the whole things back, I'll mark all the rest of the holes and marks and bits and pieces on here. And I'll get all them, or try to get all them in these at the same time, or in a couple of batches. And then while I'm waiting on that stuff to go off, I'll do a block back on these, and then I might do the hood tops and sides. Might give them a block back while I'm waiting on this other stuff, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Bye. Again, please like, share, subscribe. Give me that thumbs up. That helps immensely. Sub. If you're getting to the end of my videos, please sub. I could do with some subs. Just, yeah, as much as, I hate freaking begging, but it's, well, I'm not trying to beg, but, to get to that 1,000, I don't, the people that aren't doing YouTube, I don't think realise, if I can get over 1,000 subs, I'm going to get a little bit of cash rolling in from that. It mightn't be much for a start. It might be only, even if it's $100 a month, that's $100 I've never had, and it's $100 I can put towards projects and tools and whatever. And as my subs grow, that means I can invest in other things, and I can also put it towards maybe some giveaways and stuff like that at some point. I've been wanting to do that sort of stuff for ages, but it hasn't happened quick enough, unfortunately. And I don't know whether it's my location or what I'm doing. It's just been slower than I would have thought, But I know we're not, even though the world's still in that pandemic, we're not in that midst where the whole world was sort of in that full-on lockdown for a start off, where I got that big boost, in 2020. So, I went from, I sort of went from, I don't know, a couple of hundred up to sort of that 400 or 500, and I've been slowly crawling to that 500, 600, 700, now 850 something. Just slowly tick through that. God, freaking dust on my hands and whatever, wiping on my face. So yeah, it's just, I thought it might have moved a little bit quicker to get to that last 100 or so. I thought it might have been there sort of 6 months ago, but it is what it is. But hopefully, if you guys keep, do sub and just keep an eye on what's going on. I know it's a lot of just what's going on with this studebaker at the moment, but in theory, in the new year, there'll be a 24 Dodge in here. There'll be an HQ holding ute, which is like 71, 72. Possibly a VW combi split window at some point, which is the same guys that owns the ute. Be a 65 four-door Impala that I'm going to do some body work on. And also, if I can get some funds rolling, I want to build a 20s or 30s style body, rat rod-ish type truck. Not a true rat, if you know what I mean. Like a rough hot rod, but not a junk, not a junk rod, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't want it to be a real junky thing. I want it to be like a rough, raw, hot rod that somebody's put together that could be possibly one day be a hot rod. And I want to build, depending on what I can find, because there is another Studebaker cow up there, if I can get it. I'd have to ask. But I've thought about maybe building it like a 20 style truck or even a 30 style truck if I can. But I want to build the rest of the body to test my skills, if you know what I mean. I've built, I haven't built a lot of panels. I've built repair sections. I've built that door, but I'm pretty sure I'm capable of building like the whole rest of the body. The roof, the pillars, the whole, that sort of stuff. I've got a lot of ideas rolling around in my head for fab work, making panels, making stuff strong, putting hinges in, all those sorts of things, window channels, like all those sorts of things that people, you don't see people do, unless they're doing full fab builds. I'd dearly love to build a door with the window channels, to roll up and down, build all that inner structure, all those sorts of things, because, not picking on the guy, but Dave from Scott Rods, I think he's too scared to try and have a go at building an inner panel in the window channels in his 36 Chev coupe in Canada. And I keep saying to him, get some MDF, get a couple sheets of MDF or a decent sheet of MDF, trace out the inner shape of your door, get a piece of MDF, cut it out to that shape, get another piece, cut it out to that shape, work out where your window mechanism and stuff's going to hook into that, cut those pieces out, and then just frickin' sandwich the two together and bend it over, and then add a piece of steel in, and all hey presto, all of a sudden you've got an inner panel of a door, because he's like, they're wooden doors a bit like this, those Chevs, and he's sort of built a steel structure in it, but he's got no windows in it, and he's got no inner panel to hang anything off. And he sort of made this frame out of some bit of box section and some angle iron and whatever, so he can put door locks and all that sort of stuff in there, which is, he's done what he's done, but I desperately like to do some of that sort of stuff to show people what you can do, because I can see how to do it, I can think how to do it. And I think it would be a fairly simple thing to make with a little bit of thought. Get your bits and pieces that you want to put in that door, work out where they're going to work best. Make your template for the inside of your door where you think things are going to be, lay that stuff on there, work out where your sweepers for your window regulator and all that sort of crap, work out where you're going to put stuff, and then you can make the holes in the wooden panel, where those pieces are going to be, and you can cut some holes in the steel to accept, so you can feed that stuff in, and you can bend some edges over and all that sort of stuff. I've got that all in my head. I've worked through that so many times in my head. I reckon I could, I can do it easy, even with a little bit of heat if I need it to stretch the steel, like in some shitty spots. But I reckon I could build it easy. It mightn't be that easy what I think in my head, but I've been through it enough times in my head, because I've thought about it so many times over the years, to wanting to build something, but I've just never had that opportunity. And I think now, next year, is going to be my opportunity to build something. I've got a motor and trans, I've got to pick it up, but it's mine, I want it. I've got a couple of leads on some chassis. I'm hoping to maybe pick up, I could pick something up modern, like a modern, 70s, or not so much 70s, but probably an 80s or a 90s Japanese ute chassis, but I don't want to do that. I would actually quite like to build something straight axle. So try and find a 30s or 40s chassis of something and just make it work, build a body, build a roof, back window frames, all that sort of stuff. I would love to build the whole, as much of it as I can, to really test my skills and work stuff out. I've only got an English wheel here at the moment, but I'm hoping to get a planishing hammer, a shrinker stretcher, and what else do I really need to do that sort of stuff? That's pretty much it. I've got an English wheel, I've got a folder, a planishing hammer, and a shrinker stretcher, and the hammers and dollies, and I think I could build most of it. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to carry on, and we'll see you probably in the next video, I reckon. Alright, cheers. Yep.